And Sainz is absolutely blasting the doors off of Kvyat. So it shows at the moment he looks like the weak link of the four. And you're right. I'm genuinely thinking we will be Kvyat-less for 2017 at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's got into his head a little bit, and that's damaged him. But I wouldn't have dropped him when they did. But now I couldn't make a case for keeping him.
Yeah, and I think you're right about the whole getting into his head, because remember back to the Monaco Grand Prix, which is a while ago, when it all went wrong for him on like the safety car laps and his car was going, and they kept replaying him going, "Oh, why does this always happen to me? It's all my fault." It sounded like he just wanted to cry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a very high pressure environment, particularly at Red Bull, and yeah, he's just cracked under the pressure. It happens to quite a lot of drivers. I know, it's perverse. It's sickening. And I know I'm capable of faster. What would help is if I remembered to save my tyres on the outlap. If you're watching me on board now and seeing me driving erratically, it's because I'm trying to work that fucking menu.
Oh, yeah.
While going around the corner. Well, I tell you what, let's take a moment to consider how the season's gone so far, while I tell myself to stop driving over the rumble strips, because it's going to kill my tyres before my fast lap. And what have you made of the season so far, and how has it differed in your expectations?
So I've really enjoyed this season so far. Because everyone's a bit more snappier at the Mercedes heels in general. I'm delighted that Rosberg was able to get an advantage out before it all starts to fall apart, one way or another. I'm quite liking the fact that Lewis Hamilton just seems to have not turned up very much this year. And it's almost like he'd resigned himself to being checked out quite quickly. And I don't get that, and I'm sure he'll do this if he does win this year's title, which is still quite highly likely, I think. Like how he plays that emotionally, just how much of a cock he's going to be about it.
You mean that he didn't even have to try?
Yeah, because that's kind of how I think that's almost like the vibe that he's going for, and then he's going to try and dovetail that with a little bit of Ayrton Senna, I've got God on my side. So that'll be interesting. I'm loving how Ferrari seem to not want to win this year, and despite all of their efforts doing stuff. But yeah, a much closer grid. There's barely a weak driver out there that you could pinpoint and say you don't deserve to be there. And because of the stability in the rules and the regulations, closer grid. It's been an intriguing one for me.
I have to say,
I don't know what will pan out at the end. Sorry.
I have to say the results have been very variable, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, aside from Mercedes, of course, but I mean, like we had Williams on the podium, which I didn't expect to see.
Yeah, because they don't necessarily. It's one of those. It reminds me of when Bridgestone. And you had the tyre wars, and a different tyre would suit some cars one week against another week. Reminds me of that, because you see different teams kind of pop up and down the field depending on the type of circuit, and I really like that because it means that good lap.
Not as good as it could have been. I totally fluffed sector 1, and I've just fluffed the first corner there, but never mind. I keep forgetting to open my DRS as well. You've got to have the DRS. We've had this discussion, man.
Yes.
The DRS are vital. No, I agree. I mean, I tell you something that surprised me, that I was quite happy with how things have gone with the super soft compound.
Yeah, this free tyre rule, I really, really like.
And because, it kind of brings back a little bit of the tyre wars. And people have trouble with the tyre wars, I know, but me personally, I always felt it was a more competitive era of Formula 1.
Yeah.
And it was much more edge of your seat action, particularly at the start of the tyre wars, where Bridgestone would suddenly out of nowhere pull an amazing tyre from one circuit and really shake up the order.
Yeah, completely agree. And just because where you have that split of 50-50, because with fuel, you can get some strategy stuff, but you're kind of already divided into a couple of camps immediately. And because now the fuel, it's not as if you can go nuts and be like, yeah, turn it up to max, everyone. You're so limited by fuel efficiency now these days, which is a fine thing in its own way. You can't go nuts on the strategy and do really crazy stuff, so it's left to the tyres now to make that up. So that 3 tyre rule, I think, has really added a really nice spark. And a mini shout out as well to some of the graphical overlays. I thought 2014, I think it was, the graphical overlays of Formula 1 was bloody awful. They didn't even align the letters properly.
No, there were some problems, weren't there?
Oh, I used to, like, anyone with OCD would have sat twitching through the 2014 season. But the way how they explain it with the colour codes and knowing how much like people are on different lengths of students for and stuff like that makes that kind of twist in strategy much easier to follow, and I appreciate that. And also, just on a random F1 is not always shit, everyone thing. Have you been watching the Grill the Grid interviews on the F1 YouTube channel that they've been doing?
I haven't actually.
Oh, they asked Kimi Räikkönen what flavour ice cream he's got. It's nice to have someone that's a bit cheeky, asking the questions and just being generally putting F1 in a bit more of a fun light as opposed to it being so bloody po-faced.
I think F1's still got a long way to go in general, but I do appreciate how this season, aside from the really shaky start, people are starting to find their feet again a little bit. We're starting to see that closer competition that you were talking about. Channel 4 wasn't... The coverage got better progressively. I still don't rate it as highly as BBC, but it did get progressively better. I thought Mark Webber was actually a great on-screen personality for them, to be honest.
Yes, I really liked him, and I was really surprised at how well Susie Wolf done, actually, as well.
Actually. I was going to...
I quite enjoyed it.
I mean, I know my girlfriend really misses Susie Perry.
Yes.
And I don't know, maybe it's, me being a guy living in a patriarchal society. But it didn't occur to me that before, that actually part of the reason my girlfriend enjoyed watching Formula 1 with me was that there was a woman's voice there.
Yeah.
That to me, I never think about it, but then I realise most things I watch have a male voice by default.
Interesting.
But,
they've put Lee Mackenzie on for the practice sessions, so she actually covers the before and after stuff of that, and I quite like Lee Mackenzie. She seems like she's that nice gal.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do miss Susie Perry because she did just look like she shouldn't have been left in charge of that show, but it made it so much watchable for being so.
Yeah, she had sort of cracks in the professional facade occasionally, but I think that made her all the more relatable.
Absolutely.